Our third lesson is going to be a blend of work with arrays and work with word problems. So we are covering about 4 different standards. I'm not going to waste time reading all 4, but I do want to project them on your screen. These 2 we've already covered, but we will be looking at them in a different way in this lesson. And because the work we do with arrays breaks apart numbers, it also ties to our work in algebraic thinking. And we have 2 standards that are covered with this work today. All right, now let's move on to our Pearson lesson. For our work with arrays today, we are going to look at the problem 65 times 14. And arrays allow us to break these more complicated factors into simpler numbers that are easier to think about mentally. So I'm going to start to build my array now. You should be doing the same in your workspace, whether that's your notebook or a lined piece of paper. Okay, so I have my unmarked array. And I know that 65 and 14 are the numbers that I'll want to be thinking about. So if I look at 65, I know that that's really the same thing as 60 plus 5. So I'm going to break my 65 down into 60 and 5. And I'm going to think the same thing about my number 14. I know that 14 is the same thing as 10 plus 4. Now I'm going to set up my array. So 4 is smaller than 10, so its space will be smaller. That'll help me check my work. And 5 is smaller than 60, so again that will be smaller of the space. Okay. Now, the way I'm going to be thinking about this is I know I have to move down and to the side. So I'm going to be looking at columns and rows. So my first column is 60. I'm going to carry that down into my box. Oops, using the wrong type of drawing tool. Let's fix that. I've got 60. And I have a 4 in the row, so it's going to be 60 times 4. And guys, the point of array is that you're able to make 4 multiplication problems that are easier to solve. So please do not skip the step of setting up your multiplication expressions in your box, because that allows me to see that you're understanding where your factors are coming from. So 4 is from this row, and 5 is in this column. So it's 4 times 5. Again, I've just figured out that this column is 5, so I'm going to go ahead and continue this work and add that 5 down here. And 60 carries down in here. Now, looks like 10 is the row down here, so let's multiply each of these by 10. Okay, now that we've set up our unmarked array, let's work to solve these simpler multiplication problems. 60 times 4, we can think about as 6 times 4, because 60 is 10 sets of 6. We can do 6 times 4 times 10. 6 times 4 is 24, and 24 times 10 is 240. 4 times 5 is 20. 10 times 5 is 50. And again, we can think about this as 6 times 10, which is 60, and 60 sets, 6 times 10 is 60. Therefore, the answer will be 600. And now that we have our answers, we need to be working, our products. We need to know what our answers are called, our products. We need to add all of our products together. So let's go over to our white space and start setting up addition problems that are easy for us to solve. 240 plus 20 is quick, and most of this might be able to be done in your head, but again, I like to see your thinking. So 4 plus 2 is 6. We know 0 plus 0 is 0, and the 2 carries down to make 260. And 600 plus 50, I know, is 650. So I'm going to add that to my workspace. And then finally, I need to add the 260 and the 650 together to get my final product of the more complicated problem, 65 times 14. And our final answer is 910. Feel free to check this work with the standard algorithm. Now for our next step, we want to think about this work and create a word problem that would apply. So it's asking us to write a story problem from this original problem of 65 times 14. And they want you to make sure that your story includes the parts of the problem that you've represented in your array. So I will remind you of the work that we've done. And your exit ticket for this lesson will be to create a story problem using this work. Feel free to pause the video so you can reference this question, and be sure that your answer includes that number of 910. All right, good luck.